we really don't have time to go on about our lives and to pretend like there is not events that are happening where people who look like me, aka black people, or aka indigenous people, black indigenous people of North America, to pretend like there is not, it doesn't seem as though there's always someone who is targeting black people. And especially because a lot of these things are shared online. As I said in a previous video, there was a brother who was attending his family reunion. There was a white man who drove past them and was blurting out racial slurs multiple times. And according to the video and what people were reporting, the family was ignoring him and they just continued to go on about their merry little way. And after it continued, they ended up contacting the sheriff. When this maniac and this demon returned, he came around the street and he had on body armor, is what they described what he was wearing. They said that he had body armor on, but they also said that he was shooting with an assault rifle. And what you see in this video is a lot of people who are running in complete chaos and complete fear. Now, there's multiple ways to look at this, because people such as myself who actually practice self-defense tactics and methods will say, well, this is the reason why we train. Also, a no-brainer, the fact that a lot of our ancestors were warriors for real, not just spiritual warriors, or not just people who get on the internet and just do stuff for show and for likes and for notoriety and validation, and so that we can get our numbers up. No, we do certain things because we're actually doing things in the community, but then also because we have a certain DNA, and because we have a lot of the likeness of our ancestors. Our ancestors were powerful people, our ancestors were warriors. And then with the awareness of understanding that we're not going to continue to walk this earth in cognitive dissonance, or ignoring the fact that we still live in a world where there's a lot of people who do not like black people, and they wish to do black people harm. So yeah, I would highly encourage people who resonate with my energy and resonate with, we still walk in love and compassion, but always having that warrior on standby or at bay if need be, because there is a wicked world out there and there's still very much racist people. We don't have to focus on it. We don't have to manifest it to know that it's still real. It doesn't change the fact that these certain people exist and that it's real. It doesn't change the fact that though some people may move away from certain areas where they feel like, a lot of the evil or violence is going on in prominent areas, there are people who are wicked and evil, and people who really do not like black people all over this planet, and especially in this country. So people want black people to be quiet. They said that they have, people say that, people are tired of hearing black people complain about, what happened in, slavery, or, chattel slavery, the slave trade, and all the bad things that happen. And then, fast forward current day times and the residual effect of that, right? Because we're still dealing with the residual effects of that. And people say that they get tired of hearing it, but it's almost as if they will wish for us to sweep it under the rug so they don't be held accountable, and so that everybody can go on about their merry way. Now this woman, or whatever this being is, said that black people should get over it, in other words, and should stop looking in the mirror and stop looking at the color of our skin and try to fit into the world as a human being. Excuse me? Fit into whose world? I don't have to fit into your world to exist and to live here. I don't need your validation. I don't need your comment. I don't need your reply. I don't need to fit into a world and into a planet that I am organic to and that my ancestors is absolutely organic to. So fit in with who? With you? it's comments like that is the reason why the world is in the condition that it is in, and why African American or black people deal with the issues that they deal with people who are non-black or non-African American, and then all the people who come into this country and then they wish to be like us, but when it's time to struggle like us and to fight the fight that we continue to fight, they are nowhere to be found, or they're quiet as a church house mouse, right? That's a problem. Or the people who come into the country and they want to live up to this image and the likeness of the people who run this system, right? Because they feel as though that is the image and the way of the American dream. And then they are, I mean, let's talk about it. We're going to talk about it. Let's talk about it. You know, when they come here, it's like they get a briefing. And a part of that briefing is that they are taught and they are shown from the media and movies and all of these things to be psychologically hypnotized and brainwashed, right? And programmed to believe that black people are evil, and that our young men, our sons, are thugs, and that they're evil, and that they're like animals. Which is one of the reasons why, with that psychological program and the television, the vision that they're telling when it comes to a lot of the stuff that they show on TV, that is very is very negative, and it shows nothing but negative images of black African Americans. Then people who come into this country, a lot of times, if they don't really know, if they don't have family over here who can tell them good things about African Americans because they've had good relationships with us and done good business with us, they come over here fearful of us. And a problem with people who have fear is either they're going to fight, they're going to flee, or they're going to freeze. So when you come in contact with something or someone that you're actually fearful of, you're going to either want to fight them, or if you're new on this soil and you see people and you see propaganda and you see television and commercials and media of all negative things of a certain type of people, you're probably either not going to want to be around them, you're not going to trust them, or you're going to want to be on the defense. And you think that if they get close, or if they come into your business or whatever, then you might have to be on defense and ready to fight. So, you know, the person, the woman said, try to fit into the world as a human. I don't have to fit into anything that you have to offer, quite frankly, because as I said, this is the land of my ancestors, and my ancestors is organic to the planet. And also, when you are organic to the planet, and when you're actually from a country, a natural born citizen, and your ancestors is natural born people of a country that you live in, then that means that you as an immigrant should try to fit into my world and into my ancestors' land and into our country. If you really want to, you know, if you really want to be clear, and if we're really going to take it there, because it was very arrogant for the woman to say, try to fit in. Black indigenous people don't need to fit into anything. And then the fact of the matter is everybody wants to fit into our world. Everybody wants to be our likeness. You know, a lot of times, a lot more people on the planet, especially these scientists and these people who call themselves elitists, they know more about us than ourselves, and that will be the reason, another reason why we're always targeted in such ways, and our children as well. And this is not me trying to project this into the world and to, some people may say jinx. What I'm doing is I'm speaking truth. I'm speaking exactly what we experience and what we have seen, what our people have dealt with. Everybody want to be like the black man and woman until it's time to fight, until we are struggling, until we are fighting, until, it's a fight. But it's always a fight. And when it's all light, and it is when it's peace, love, and light, and it's time to turn up the music, and it's time to be entertained, and it's time to have a good time, oh, everybody want to be black. But when it's time to fight the oppressor and the people who want to dump salt or throw the rock and hide their hand, they're nowhere to be found. It's only a very select people who are actually there to represent with us. And we see you guys, we know who you are, and we really truly appreciate that. And we also appreciate those who stand with us in solidarity, knowing our struggles, and those who we don't have to go out of our way to explain what it is that we feel, and to explain that we're not racist, and explain that we don't mean any harm to people that don't mean harm to us. What's understood does not have to be explained. So we really appreciate that. And for the people who do take offense to it, it's probably because they're either racist, their family is still collecting the residuals of the things that they have stolen, right? It's the same people who are living lavishly and they're living comfortably, and they say, oh, you know, some of these black people, they're mad because they feel as though they're owed something and they should work hard, because the people who work hard, you know, they have built a world for themselves, and they're not going without, and they haven't experienced racism. We're not talking about something that is isolated or 1, 2, or 3 families. Everybody that know the history, and everybody that is absolutely tapped in, everyone who is absolutely conscious and paying attention, know what the issue is from the top all the way to the bottom. We know what the issues are in this system, and that's just me really not just trying not to say too much, because I really don't have, you know, too much time to talk about this. But I definitely wanted to get on here and share my feelings on, you know, what I feel about this whole issue with the back and forth with, you know, people wanting to target black people, and then people wanting to share all of this negativity, but this hate towards black people. And whether it is propaganda or whether it is just, you know, just the media, because some people will say, well, yes, the media like to they like to shine, you know, or bring a lot of attention to certain things to make issues seem as though, you know, it's bigger than what it is. Well, one thing we know is that even while we're continue doing what we need to do to self-sustain and empower ourselves and our children, we still know that we live in a racist country, and that this system is very much racist. And if people do not agree with that, and I don't care what color you are, I don't even care if you're a black person, if you don't agree with that, then you're on the wrong side of history. And quite frankly, to me, you are the opposition. Anyway, I had to get that off. I'll probably make a part 2, or you guys will probably hear from me speaking more about on, you know, social justice and the things that I feel that is affecting me passionately, and, you know, hearing my thoughts on how I feel about what's going on in this current day and time. As I always say, you guys keep your head on the swivel. Be careful, because it's one thing for people to say you're projecting and what you're focused on, and then what you're okay. So yeah, we can talk about all that, and that's all cool, fine, and dandy, right? But at the end of the day, we're not going to have cognitive dissonance and pretend like certain things is not happening, because it very much is. And then also, you can't be, you know, so one way and not the other. There has to be a balance, right? Because when people fall too far spiritually, then there's a such thing, as spiritual psychosis. So let's make sure that we're staying with our feet on the ground while people have their heads in the clouds.